Boris continues to walk with an appreciable limp, usually using the stock of his gun as a crutch. And as that first hour begins to approach the second hour's conclusion, you can see up ahead at a slight raise of elevation an area where there is very little tree cover. On that uprise, you do see that there is the ruin of what would seem to be some sort of building of, commerce. You can see the front face is brick. There are a good many windows that have either been shuttered or have shattered in over the course of time. There are large gaps in the walls of this place, a lot of missing stonework, which has fallen down about the place to form mounds of rubble and detritus. At this distance, you are not hearing much in the way of commotion leaving the place. It looks like it's a 3-story structure, assuming that the interior has not collapsed in on itself over the course of time. Here, Boris pauses. We can be upon the thresh of the place within a half hour's time, even with my pace being slow. There are several ways to enter the heart of the mill, certainly. The first is there is a waste runoff not far from where we stand now. The waste, it empties out into a dried river, so it is not as though there will be waste or great detritus within, but is old and has likely made rust. Is possible it's collapsing, but I do know this place stand. Last time it accessed for any purpose or reason, it had not collapsed. Was perhaps a winter ago that I was last upon place. Beyond that, any one of the sides of the structure except the rear can be readily accessed through gaps and by fallen doorway. The back of the structure, however, is where good deal process happen, rather than factory, the mill proper. There are old rusty vehicles, relics of that bygone day that sit and rot and are taken, as is the balance in all things. That area, however, from what I saw at night, I make scout, there were many Adaptoid there. If they leave no tracks between our old companies, means they come not from village, but come from south, or they come from behind. I make my scouts up, there are no tracks. I understand the Adaptoid can have many strange ability. They tune to the magics in such way, can use miracles of marvels. Is perhaps make fly, but I don't think. And the man, the yelling man, I don't think he fly. So that is what we see. I hear no noise at so, but these are golems. They may work swift and silent. Largest give is on south wall. Will open into ruin. Have you any need or will upon entering this place, or do we simply go forward unafraid?
I think we should go. I think we should go the runoff.
That's what I was thinking too. That runoff, that's probably the quietest. Unless they're observant.
He's just waiting for your final decision on the matter.
What's your guys' call?
It's fine with me.
Runoff?
Always runoff.
Sure. And so it was that Rich was, for the first time in his gaming career, dragged into a sewer.
I'll get used to it.
It's a rite of passage. You'll be a man soon. So, he then banks farther away from the direction of that uprise, and he makes his way up a rather harrowing mud slope, which again the Hearthguardsman travels up readily, and all at once you realize that you're only a few yards out from A large wall of gray stone, a good deal of moss grows upon its face. Searching the face of that wall, the Hearthguard's attention falls to a very large, very rusted aperture. You can see that an old rusty gate has fallen away from a corrugated metal tube that juts from the side of the mountain. A few little birds at play atop the thing. Those birds are from hell, gird yourself. Some happy little songbirds. There, das is pipe. You tell me, Master Knight, would you have me go into place or stand?
No, you can stay.
I'd say stay out here, hide.
Very well. He places his hand upon your shoulder and begins speaking in unknown tongue. Me lo tretasse vende par tonemen avos tarmachte. Glostanda e savadund. Makes his way off into the woods, which leads the happy little Hearthguard to a
Should we try to hide this somewhere? On our
At which point, at last, the gauntlet opens, bringing the shard of stone forward.
Is it stone now?
It
Try to find somewhere on our person that we could potentially stow it on us that would be hidden. So it's not just in our hand all the time.
At which
I'm
point,
on board for that.
immediately, a tiny burst of green light sounds up from your hand. When that green light passes, you are no longer holding the stone. But something that has not happened up to this point for any of you is you are suddenly aware of something. Aware of something that perhaps you shouldn't be aware of. You know that the stone is now back in the little room.
Now we assume that room's safe, right?
You do not feel worried even as that revelation comes.
We should be careful here. It's odd that they made such noise during the night, and now during the day it's
Yes, you can.
completely quiet. They might have known that he trapped them there. Just be aware for traps.
Vegetables. The Hearthguard moves forward. It crouches, takes itself into a rather defensive and celeritas posture. He goes up the mud slope, holds his staff forward, and as he has before, speaks. The same pituitheric energy that was present during the battle with the creature Ursula is present here. I sense some manner of mild construct identical to the same matrices which were manifested by the doe-like creatures during your second battle with her.
We're gonna be facing enemies any which way we go, I would assume so.
Oh, yeah, but it's most advantageous. How tall is this building? 3 stories?
Crumbling old,
Crumbling old.
ugly, nondescript edifice. I will go into no great bit of narration other than to say there are areas of the walls of this ugly brick building which may be 100 years old, it might be 50, it might be 5. Just a time-blasted building and testament to its construction that it still stands in any capacity. Staring at the wall as you are, you would have a give of several hundred feet just to get to the level of the building itself. And as you're coming up, you don't have too much vantage of seeing the place, but your guess is that there's several hundred feet of give from the edge of that cliff going back toward the building proper.
So you're gonna go through a pretty long waste chute just to get into the building proper, as it were. That doesn't seem
He's doing it. He's defending himself against going in the sewer. Well, it's always my happiest time. As a side note, I will mention that there have been many D&D games where Ryan, for whatever reason, does not want to go into anything representing sewers.
Well,
I think the most impassioned one was about 2 hours long. And at one point, an NPC who happened to be in the area caught up with it as well. Yeah, who would ever want to go in a sewer? He starts bringing up and debating the quality of going, man, you have to take a bath? And it was a whole thing.
That was a big thing.
Yes,
We've
it
been
was.
traveling for weeks. You need to
And
take
as
a
soon
bath.
as he heard that, done. There's no backing down on that point. No, sorry. The slavery has to go to end this civil war. It was the same thing. No way. I would like some soap and some clean clothes. That was some passion. Let's see that passion now. For he is ultimately the later day you.
We always died in the sewers.
well, you know, the thing about it is I would not object to the filth of a sewer, but the lack of strategic advantage being cramped in a sewer pipe lends you.
No, actually, I think it was Henry David Thoreau who said, "Give me a sewer, pipe constricting. Now I will know joy and Christmas all year long." It's fact, people. Go on your internet.
No, it is. It's the last verse of Walden.
Now then, move on.
Okay.
You're in a pipe. Stop distracting us, Ryan. So you're standing in a pipe inside of a fountain. What are y'all gonna do?
Well, you know, the other thing is we don't know a fraction of our ability. You know, we've explored virtually none of it.
Mm-hmm.
For all we know, we could fly up to the top of this thing,
I'm sure.
get a bird's eye view, see what we're dealing with, instead of going in, crawling on hands and knees through a sewer pipe into God knows what.
I think the main point was we go in as quietly as possible
Secretly.
because we know that there's a lot of these adaptoids,
Right,
and we don't. I mean, they are kind of like, you know, broken down,
right.
but we don't know what they're capable of, and who knows what the yelling guy's gonna do.
And he stated that some of them could possibly fly as well. I just want to be like lighting a firework off over the place
I
and saying,
think
hey!
I think it would be the wisest
What's up?
to sneak in here.
Sense of adventure going through.
Well,
there. Come on.
let's see if our man with the chapeau is correct. Going through the sewer pipe
Chapeau is always correct.
with
He moves up to the pipe, and upon getting there, rather easily reaches up to the top of the pipe, hoists himself up, hooks a foot under. You can see the passage beyond.